Welcome to the Lift Heavy Run Long podcast. My name is Wilson Horrell and my co-host is Vaughn Rawls. You can find us at www.liftheavyrunlong.com or on Twitter and Instagram at LiftRunLong, or feel free to email me directly at wilson@liftheavyrunlong.com. The mission of LHRL is simply this: to inspire and be inspired. Tune in every week as we speak with some of the world's most interesting people. Enjoy the show and find your bliss. Let me tell you what we got going on the LHRL podcast, episode number 28. Big stuff. What we have is a friend of mine I met through our friend Valerie Hunt of runrx.com, who seems to know every fascinating, energetic, and also a little bit crazy person, I guess, around the Texas area. And the person she introduced me to is here with us today. Her name is Melly Maronde. How are you, Melly?
Hello, how are you? I'm good, thank you.
Can I tell you how you were described to me?
Sure, yes.
Valerie said that you're a highly energetic and positive person who will sign up for anything and just do it.
Yes, she's correct.
When I heard that, I said, I have to meet her. She has to be on the show. I'm going to get her.
Well, I'm honored. Thank you very much. And thanks to Valerie.
And I liked you right off the bat. I went to your Facebook page and immediately got to stalking the way that I do. I sent you a friend request. I just noticed on your posts and on your videos just how much fun you made it all look like. You were doing these, I guess when I first got on, you were beginning the Tunnel Hill 50 miler, which you recently completed. Am I correct?
Yes. Correct.
And I don't know that I've ever seen such a good attitude during a 50-mile run.
Well, it was actually, I guess I could say my second. I did my first one as a part of a 100-mile in June. It's one of those things where you just have to be strong-minded to go out there and do things like that, especially as a woman, because I don't train a lot. I mean, I do a lot of cross train. I try to put in some lifting there, to keep strong, but I don't do a lot of mileage when it comes to like training, That 50 miler last weekend was just, it was a test. My first 100 miler, I had my husband crew for me. He was absolutely wonderful. He was there taking care of my feet. He was there providing support. So this time it was all me. No crew, no nothing. I just had to I was responsible for my own hydration, my own, pretty much everything. So I try to go into my races with a really strong mind, because that's what's going to get you. That's what's going to get you, especially in the dark, nobody around, as a woman. I mean, a lot of women would fear that, but I just had to get that out of my mind and, finished.
And that's a pretty scary deal, even as a 240-pound man. And I was out there with my wife. It's scary when the sun goes down and you have nothing but a headlamp and have no idea what's around the corner, if there even is a corner.
Yes. And of course, in my case, you have a headlamp that almost dies. And if you don't get the batteries in quick enough, it's going to be dark. I mean, and to be honest, there were people out there running without a headlamp.
Was there really?
And I was like, and at one point my headlamp got dimmed and I saw something running across and I'm like, well, let's hope that was a deer and not anything else. I just saw the eyes went across right in front of me and I'm like, oh no. So I just heard the little footsteps and I'm like, well, I'm just going to keep on going. That's what I did.
We did that one last year and I did not bring a headlamp because I didn't think I was going to need it because I just thought, well, I'll probably be done before it gets dark. And I wasn't. So I had like 3 miles. I think it was like 3 or 4 miles left and it is dark, dark. Like once it got dark, I couldn't see my hand in front of my face. It was like 2.5 miles of that. And I was like, scared to death and I was going to just be wandering along in the woods and not end up being lost or something. So it's really scary.
I don't know how to properly describe indescribably dark, but it is indescribably dark out there. It can get no darker.
Yes. And you have to prepare, you have to have your, hydration is a big one. I mean, I've seen people out there running just with water, and I just kind of wonder, how do you do it? Because your electrolytes will definitely be affected. I try to be good when it comes to that, and it does help.
Well, I know when I was out there running, I would have welcomed a bear attack. By the time it got dark and the mileage that I was on, I was so ready to be done with that I would have just liked nothing more than for a pack of wolves to have come out and eaten me whole.
Yeah, it is painful. But that I think the adrenaline, the feeling that you can accomplish something that big, 100 mile. There's the other crazy races that are 200. I have a friend that did 300-mile race by foot on road, and I'm like, total respect for that woman.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Well, tell me about yourself, starting from the beginning. Where did you grow up?
Okay, well, I am originally from Panama, not Florida. I get that a lot. I've been in the U.S. for over 20 years. Right now, I live in Clarksville, Tennessee. My husband was in the military, and that's how we met. And he just recently retired, so he's happy.
Good for him. Congratulations on him.
Yes. So, I've been, like I said, in Clarksville since 2010. We moved here from New York. I started with CrossFit. I started back like in 2007 or 8, running and cycling, but I never really kept up with it. When you have smart children, it kind of takes from doing things you want to do. You have to take care of your family. So I discovered CrossFit in 2012, and that's how it all started.
Were you athletic in high school growing up?
No, not at all. No. No, I started, it was 37, 38. So I'm 41 now. So I've been at it for like 4 years now.
And so 2012, 4 years you've been into it, and you're already doing 50-mile races. Did I hear correctly that you did the Barkley Fall Classic?
I did. I started, and I was stopped at aid station number 2 because I didn't make it within the cutoff time. But if they would have let me, I would have gone. But that's not how they do things. So, but I made it to the second aid station. People were dropping at the first one. People were getting sick, and they weren't making it. So I got to the first one, and I quick did what I had to do and took off to the second one. But I didn't get there in time, so I had to drop.
So what got you started on the road to all this nonsense?
The endurance part of CrossFit. I'm not a big, heavy, I can lift, but I'm not a big, heavy lifter. So I one day saw that they were doing some endurance classes, and I'm like, oh, I want to try. And that's how it started pretty much.
How did you find CrossFit? I'm assuming you went to a gym there in Clarksville? Or?
Yes, there is there's actually several boxes here. But it was one of my coworkers. She's like invited me to go try it out. And we actually went and did the on-ramp together. And that's how it started. So
what CrossFit gym were you attending when you were doing endurance or running?
Yeah, CrossFit Solified, or this, we say it Solafide.
And where is that?
In Clarksville, Tennessee. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I just assumed that you were one of the clients of Valerie's because you just don't hear of a lot of people running.
Yeah, Valerie came and did an endurance class at the local CrossFit box, and my husband and I took that class. That's how I met her and became, acquainted with her that way, because she taught that class for a weekend seminar, and then we were there and took the class.
Is there a lot of people at your box that do CrossFit? I mean, at your box that run?
They do endurance. I'm not part of the gym anymore. I actually have my own garage set up so I could do all my stuff. So I bought a rig and I bought all my plates, and now I have my own setup because my schedule is so busy. We work quite a bit. So by the time I get off work, I'm headed home and I have to design my workout and do what I'm going to do. And just, so it was convenient for me just to do my own thing at home.
It doesn't take a whole lot to set up your own thing, does it?
No, not at all. I mean, if you got the time, if you can do a little bit of investment, it doesn't take that much. I am a big rowing machine. I absolutely love that machine. So you will see me doing a lot of rowing, half marathon, 10Ks, just to keep that endurance going.
I have a rowing machine, but you won't see me doing a lot of rowing. It sits over in the corner with the rest of my stuff that I don't use.
Yeah, a Salt air bike. That thing is a beast. That thing is, oh man.
Do you own one of those?
Yes.
Wow. If you're committed enough and nuts enough to buy an assault air bike with your own money, then you are definitely to be respected.
Well, thank you. I love it. It will get you. It will get you. But when you're done working on that thing, you're like, wow, I did that.
So do you just do your own thing in your garage? Do you have a coach, or do you just come up with whatever you want to do for
well,
a day?
I read a lot. And when it comes to running, things to build my endurance, some lifting, I read a lot of the books that are out there, but then I also design, because like I said, I have to modify sometimes things because, I'm not RX type, but I usually create my own thing or, combine things that I find, and then I just go at it.
Would you consider yourself an average person, an average athlete? Starting this journey, would you have considered yourself more on the side of average as opposed to elite?
Oh yeah, no, I'm not elite. No. I'm a badass. I will tell you that.
That's it. That's exactly what draws me to you. That's what makes me so attracted to you is that attitude. There's so much self-degradation and so many people who don't want to do things because they don't think that they fit the mold. And when I saw you, you give off that appearance of being really comfortable with yourself and really comfortable with what you're doing and really comfortable with your environment, that it makes it look like a lot of fun. And I don't know if you see that about yourself, if you're aware of that or not, but I think it's important. And I think that it's just really a great thing, a great mindset, and a great attitude that you have.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm not an elite, no, by any means. My endurance is just absolutely at its limit. But, I'm not a fast runner completing, 6-minute miles. No, I'll never be that. I'm compared to the average female, I am way beyond that. But an elite, no. But like I said, badass all day long.
Well, you're certainly a badass, and if you walk into a room of people that don't run at all or don't do any lifting or training, you would most definitely be labeled as an elite athlete.
Yeah, probably amongst the the average population. Yeah. But there's other people that I know that do a lot of CrossFit, meaning they lift, and they always say we wouldn't be able to do that. Because, we're all different. We concentrate on one thing. There's people that want to lift and get strong. I'm over here on the other end trying to get my endurance and keep it, at a steady where I can continue, because there's more stuff coming up for me. I'm looking at my next 100-miler, more 50-milers, and that's going to take a lot of endurance. And of course, my strength too.
Well, it sounds like you're willing to put in the work to find the areas that you excel.
Yes. I think it's discipline. If you have the discipline, combine that with the mind, you're strong, and just the strength of your mind, I think you're good. It doesn't matter who you are.
Where'd you find the courage?
That's a good question. That's just how I am, I guess. I just say, okay, I want to try that. And I want to try that. And then, of course, my husband. I always call him my number one fan because I tell him, hey, honey, I'm going to go wrestle some kind of bear out in the woods. Okay, babe, just be safe. He's very supportive. And I think that's a good, when you have a supportive spouse, because sometimes he used to crew for me, but now he's, busy and has a new job, so he can't do it. But like an example, during my 50-miler, we talked on the phone, and you get into that point. I'm sure you guys have, you've mentioned that before. When you're at that in the dark by yourself, your mind starts to wander. And he sent me some messages. Hey, I love you. You're doing good. Keep it up. And then at that moment, those messages kind of test you. And I'm like, I'm about to go, because you get so. But then something kicked in and go, don't do it. Don't fall apart right now. And it was just kept going. I don't know. We all have a little bit of it. We just got to find it.
We just got to find it. That's right.
Yeah.
Is your husband into fitness?
He was. Being in the military for 21 years, he ran quite a bit, but he tore up his knees. His knees are not that good. He does lift every now and then in our garage, but I think as for the running part, those days are over for him. Mm-hmm.
He has a grasp of why you do what you do and appreciation for what it is that you're accomplishing.
Yes. He's always been supported. And just yesterday, I just did a marathon. So that was another painful thing. Oh, my goodness.
Now, you did that marathon yesterday. And if I'm not mistaken, you did Tunnel Hill last week, the week before?
Yes.
God almighty.
Yes. And then, of course, this marathon is not like any marathon. I mean, this is tough. This is, I think it's over 7,000 feet of elevation. So that was a little painful, but I did manage to complete it. My time wasn't the best as it was last year, but I still completed it.
What marathon was that?
It's called the Flying Monkey Marathon in Nashville.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And stepping back,
yes.
So you did Tunnel Hill, right?
Yes.
A couple of weeks ago. And did I hear you say you actually ran a 100-miler before Tunnel Hill?
Yes, in June. Uh-huh.
Okay, yep. So 100-miler, was that your first 100-miler?
Yes.
In June? How did you end up there? Like what did you do previously before you ran that 100-miler?
Well, let's see. I have about 20 half marathons under my wing. I think 7 ultra marathons. That's including 50Ks and now my 50-miler and the 100-mile. But before that, I just ran, just train that way, did the CrossFit, combine things. One day I'm like, I'm just gonna go do this 100-miler, which it was I'm just gonna go do that. Yeah. So, and my husband was like, hon, I'm like, yes. He's like, you sure? I'm like, I'm sure. I'm really sure. But the good thing about this is you had 48 hours to do this. Okay. There were several times. You had a 24-hour, 36, and then the big one. So that's 2 days. I finished in 47 hours. No sleep. I think I went over. I'm surprised I wasn't seeing weird things after that. Actually, I did see weird things, but it was 2-mile loop. So I thought of that as a CrossFit workout.
Oh,
2-mile loops
God.
times 50 times.
Wow. Wow.
Yep. And that's how it happened. It was very, very bad course. It was rain the whole time, mud everywhere. So I couldn't change my shoes because, we all change our shoes after a certain time. There was no point because as soon as I changed to clean, dry shoes, guess what? It wasn't going to happen. So, but it was completed. I didn't think I was going to be able to recover, but I did recover. And actually, I'm noticing I'm recovering a lot faster from all these races, which it's a good thing. I'm not going to question it. I'm just going to let it happen.
Do you get a lot of contact from your peers from the outside world about what an inspiration you are to them? Yes,
I do. I got a message a couple of months back, an old coworker in New York, and he sent me a message that said that he was inspired and that because of me, he was starting to work out again. And I'm like, great. And that's what it's all about, you inspire other people. And, hopefully you help and have them go out there and do something. I mean, I don't recommend 100 miles right off the bat, but hey, anything is possible if you put your mind through it.
I'm inspired. I would never, you inspired me to the point of just for a fleeting moment thinking 100-miler sounds like it would be a great accomplishment. Now I've already pushed that aside. Don't get me wrong, but I think that you are the kind of person who makes people want to do incredibly dumb things. And I mean that in the most flattering of ways.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. Thank you. And it's you kind of have to enjoy life, and that's where I'm at. I'm 41. You never know when your last moment is gonna be, so you gotta have fun. I mean, I'm not saying, like yesterday, for example, that marathon. I'm like, I finished and I was in pain. My feet. I think it was more my compressions. I think my compression socks were too small for me, so that's what was causing the pain. But when you finish and you sit down and you earn that prize and you hear the people cheering for you, it's like you have to enjoy life. You just don't know when your last moment is gonna be. So I'm just gonna have fun and hopefully I inspire people.
Well, there's no hoping to it. You absolutely do that. Tell me about when you walked into this in 2012, what kind of shape you were in and what the process was. The first time you walked into the gym or the first time you did anything when you made the decision to start doing something.
Well, I was a little overweight. I'm a 5'2", so I'm really short. So I was almost like 160 pounds. And for being short like that, that's a little chunky, I guess, for me. I just went in and I'm like, I want to do this. I want to try this. And I did. I stayed with the box until I think 2014, and then I'm like, I just want to do this in my garage. At first, my husband and I thought maybe we could open our own box, or even start something in our garage to help people. And that's how it is. I just went in and I've lost, I'm down to 140. So I've took out, I think, almost 20 pounds off, and I just kept maintaining. I'm not a big dieter. I like to eat. And in ultra runner or running, you have to eat.
Right. Yeah. There's no sense in doing it if you're not going to eat.
No, that 50 miler, I think I burned over 5,000 calories. I mean, I lost a pound during that mess, and there's no, you gotta cut this and gotta cut that. No, we gotta eat. We have to eat. And I eat everything.
You and me both. We would work well at an aid station together.
Oh, yes.
If we were able to leave the aid station from there, our competition would go from the run to the M&Ms, and we might not get any more mileage in.
Yeah, yeah.
So what was your first race that you did? What was your first race distance?
5K. Yeah, little 5Ks. Now those have become painful. I think I'd rather take on the long distance. Those little 5Ks are like a pain. I don't know why. And I've heard other runners say the same thing. So I guess, it happens.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. It hurts worse. 5Ks hurt worse than anything else.
Yeah. So I started with the 5K, and then I did a couple of 10Ks, and then I decided to jump into the half marathon in 2014 of all years. I finished that one too. That was the one that started it all. Now I'm up to number 20.
And you do most of these on the road?
Some are in trail. I prefer the trail because it's not as hard on your joints. But yeah, some are road.
Do you know a lot of the community in the trail running community or the road running community?
I knew both. There's a trail running group here in town, and they get together weekly at the local park. But my work schedule is really kind of crazy. So again, I go do my running, usually on the weekends if I'm not racing, or early in the morning, or just leave from work to the trail. But it's getting darker now, so I gotta be careful, make sure I carry a headlamp.
Most of your training is done on your own?
Pretty much, yep.
Do you see a difference between the road running community and the trail running community? Do you like one more than the other?
No, I do a lot of cycling too, and I have to tell you that I wish the cycling community was a lot tighter, just like the running community. But no, I think the running community, it's even whether it's road or trail, it's really tight. They're really good people. Whether you're first, middle, or last, there's always somebody there cheering, kind of like in CrossFit. If you're the last person trying to get a lift, a clean and jerk or overhead squat, there's, and everybody else has finished, they're pushing you there to, hey, try and get it. And even if you don't, you still get, encouragement.
Well, you said that you do the CrossFit and the road running and trail running and ultras, and you ride bikes. I'm assuming
Yes.
you don't sound like you really follow too strenuous of a schedule other than just getting after it.
Pretty much. During the week, if I am not racing, I try to put in at least 3 to 4 days of training. And that's a mix of lifting, running, cycling, cross training. If I have a long race on a Saturday, like an actual race that I have signed up for, then I try to limit my workout to at least 2 days a week. That way I can, let my body do whatever weird thing it does to prepare me for that race.
How many miles per week would you say that you put in running?
Training, I'm going to say anywhere from 30 miles or under. I don't do too much. Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, 30 is a lot. I was surprised to hear that many.
Yeah, because like I said, I combine the rowing, the assault bike, because I've done like 10 miles on that thing. I will create a workout. For example, one of my workouts was 1 mile in the assault and 10 kettlebell swings. So I did that, 10 rounds, and I got 10 miles. You know what I mean? Or I will do my rowing workout, which is a 3-mile rowing workout or a 10K. And then that's how I add my mileage. And then, of course, the cycling and some running.
If somebody told you that you were signed up for a 100-mile race in 4 months and you could only use one piece of equipment, what would that be to train for that race?
The rower.
What advice would you give me if I was going to try a 100-miler?
Train. Make sure you plan hydration, calorie intake, and the biggest one there is your mind.
Do you do a lot of long runs preparing for a 50-mile or a 100-mile, or do you get into the 30-mile runs and the 60-mile runs, or do you just go out there and get deep down into the pain cave and go?
Yeah, I just go. I like to follow, I think it's called the Galloway method, which is you run a little, you walk a little, you run a little, you walk a little. And I think that saves your legs a lot. But of course, there's the elite out there that just run. You know what I mean? Your mind, back to what advice? I think your mind is going to be the biggest thing. You have to fight. And the only person you got to fight out there to finish this race is yourself. Because you got to find out what you're really made of and push yourself. And, the quitting part, I don't care for that word. I don't like quitting because, I don't like that. I've gotten 2 runners to the finish line with me because they wanted to quit. And one of them told my husband, your wife is mean. She wouldn't let me quit. And I'm like, and I pushed her and I go, well, if you see me out here and I am busting my tail, you can do it too. So 2 of them, and one was at the Destin Ultra in Florida. That was a beach run. And that running on sand for 30 miles. Oh my goodness. But we finished.
That sounds terrible, running on sand.
It was beautiful and a good cause. You always look at what the cost. I mean, our races are fun, but when it's for a good cause, like the Wounded Warrior Foundation, some of those charities, you're like, you know what? I'm going to go do this because there's people that are no longer here and can't do this. So I'm going to do that for them,
On those beach runs, are you running on the packed sand or the loose sand?
Whichever one that works for you.
And so if you're on the packed sand, are you at a constant tilt the way that it's not flat sand, is it? You have to run lopsided like that for 50 or 100 miles?
When I did it, I tried to look ahead and see where it was packed. You know what I mean? Where it was like level, but there was no going around. You were still going to get wet. I think I had water all the way to my thighs and it was cold because it was February. So there you go.
That sucks.
How many times did you change shoes? I have a friend that used to do that race every single year. And I remember him telling me he changed shoes like 7 times during the race because of all the sand.
To be honest with you, I didn't change shoes.
It's safe to say that Melly doesn't give a shit.
Correct. Well,
correct.
I see it. Well, the thing is if you're gonna get your feet wet, what's the sense? That 100-miler again it rained the whole time. It rained. Our tent was a mess. there was no sense for me to change shoes because they were going to get wet again. I mean, it just rained and rained, mud everywhere. So same thing with the ocean. You got the sand, and I just didn't change. I mean, if I were to do another race, and I will probably, like, when was it, this weekend? Yeah, the 50 miler. I thought I was going to have to change shoes. I didn't. I just kept on going, and I was on pace to finish in 15 hours. And I wanted to, because most 100 milers, they give you 30 hours to finish. So I knew if I could finish in 15, I could attempt to finish a 30-hour race, But the cold got me. It got really cold, and I ended up finishing in 17, which, hey, that's still pretty good for me anyway.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, that's just finishing is fantastic. And I just love I love what I'm hearing from you. Just sign up, just get up, get out, go do something, sign up, and go until they tell you don't have to go anymore.
Yeah. I mean, what they're going to tell you, well, sorry, you DNF. A DNF is not a bad thing. You went out there and you did your best, and it didn't happen. That doesn't make you a failure. You have to learn how to take that. You always hear people, oh, I knew I was going to not make it. You can't go into any kind of event, anything, cycling, running, lifting, whatever you're doing. You cannot go into an event having that attitude that you're going to fail. Because what do you think is going to happen? More likely going to fail. So, I have a big 50 miler next year in Colorado. I mean, that's high elevation, and I got 24 hours to finish. You know what? I'm going to go out there and I'm going to attempt that sucker. Yeah.
I bet you finish it. My money's on you.
We'll see.
I know I wouldn't want to be the guy that pulls you off the course.
No, you have to have respect for those guys. I think that they don't want to do it because they see how hard you're working towards finishing, but there are rules, like the Barkley, for example. If you would have given me the chance, I would have finished that thing. But there are rules. I didn't make it to the cutoff, and that's just, you can't be mean to them either, because those are rules,
Oh, absolutely not. No, I understand the rules totally. It's a dangerous thing.
Yes.
I just don't want to follow the rules.
If they let you go, they'll have to let the other person, and it's not fair,
What race are you doing in Colorado?
It's called the Ore 50 miler. There's a 100 miler and a 50 miler.
Is that on road or on trails?
It's in the mountains. I think it's like 12, maybe 17,000 feet of elevation, if I'm not mistaken. And then, of course, the air, because the air is thin. So that's going to be, I mean, I actually like it. I went to Georgia, and North Carolina, Mount Mitchell area. I really love that air up there. My husband said that he says, I think you were getting high over thin air. And that's why I'm like, I just thought it was the cleanest thing ever. I felt like I was in an air conditioner with a brand new filter. That was 6,800 feet of elevation.
That was where?
In North Carolina.
Okay. Have you ever ran in Colorado before?
No, that will be my first race there.
What made you pick that race?
I actually have a love for the mountains, to tell you the truth. I enjoy them. They're painful. It's like a calling. You know what they say? The mountain has summoned the Melly, and the Melly has to respond.
That's great. Well, listen, I told you that we wouldn't take up too much of your time. I want to tell you how much I appreciate you being willing to speak with us. And to the listeners, I think that what you're doing has a profound impact on people's lives, and they need to hear your attitude and what it is that you go out there and do. You make it sound really easy and fun. And when I say easy, I mean, you make it sound like you don't have to get into the mind games and the difficulty and the complexity that can come with too many programs, too much structure, that it sucks the fun out of it.
Yeah. I thank you very much. I'm very, very humble, and appreciate you guys for bringing me into the show. It's my first one. Hey, that's cool.
There you go.
And thanks to Valerie. She's awesome. I always follow her on Facebook. I follow all her advice on post running and all of her workouts. We're here to inspire people, and some people will call us crazy. Oh, who want to go do that? Who want to do that? It's fun. It's painful, but I think that's what, in the end, when you are done with what you're doing, you're like, I did that. I did, stories I'm going to be able to tell my grandbabies.
Right.
Like, Grandma, I heard you ran 100 miles. I sure did. Oh, what? My grandma did 100 miles. What does your grandma do?
Yeah, bouncing in the lap over at Melly's house, being told stories would be a different experience than bouncing in the laps of most grandmothers. That's for sure.
Yes, definitely. Definitely.
Well, all right. We're going to keep in touch with you. We're going to check back in with you and see how everything's going. And I want to hear about your Colorado race when you get done with it.
All right, sir. That sounds good. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys have a happy Thanksgiving. And again, thank you so much.
You too. Thanks a lot.
Thanks. Take care.
Okay. Bye-bye. Thank
Bye-bye.
you.